In this video, we're discussing how AI phone callers have made thousands of dollars.
So basically, the solution you built for this business was essentially replacing like a call center.
Pretty much it.
Secrets of marketing and business powered by AI.
Less human capital needed, more time saved, and money saved because you don't have to having to hire a
Real world success stories.
I'll give you 500K today if you sell me it.
We're gonna find out how people actually took these AI callers, resold them for a massive profit.
Real estate buyers that want to buy off-market properties. So if someone lists their house before that, there's some time that you can think, like a real estate agent will know that someone is planning on selling their house.
And four, a hot take you might not be expecting. Does AI really change the game in terms of customer satisfaction, or do we really need the human touch?
Samin, very nice to have you on our show.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, well, great to meet you as well. And so you are ex-Amazon and ex-NYU computer science guy. Pedigree is outstanding, but so you left your job and you're just building out some incredible tools based on AI for people. So what do you got? What's the most exciting stuff you got going on? I saw the election, the stuff you're doing with politicians, which is super interesting. But yeah, walk me through what are some of the stuff that you're doing right now that you're excited about?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been a wild journey. So, I mean, actually, it's been pretty recent that I left my job at Amazon. It was weird leaving like such a high-paying job for just pursuing like something out of the blue. But yeah, we're using AI to basically do phone calls for people, right? Anything it could be. We could clone their voice. Let's say they have a whole list of people that we can just like call them and try to convert them. And right now, what we're doing it for ourselves as well. Let's say someone signs up on our like website form, right? It'll auto-direct, it'll populate them in our CRM, and then it'll also send them a call. So if they need to answer any questions about our business, have any rejections, and then ultimately book a sales appointment or like an appointment with me from my form on the website, and it's all instant. So like nothing is being lost. It's pretty cool. It's been a nice little journey to work on.
It's really neat. So you got a few moving pieces there from like as someone like me, not very technical. So I'm thinking, okay, you got the voice aspect, and then you got how does this entity that you made know what to say, and how do all these different parts fit together? How do you handle all that?
So yeah, it's a lot of moving pieces. How it all works is, let's say we can give, you use ChatGPT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can give ChatGPT a personality. Have you tried doing something like that?
So I mean, I've tried, but probably not to the degree that you have. So I'd love to hear how you'd approach how would you give ChatGPT a personality?
So there's a lot of prompt engineering that goes on the back, but let me boil it down to the basics, right? Basically, every message we send ChatGPT is we are trying to give it a personality. Like, for example, if we wanted to make it a salesman, we want to feed it all the knowledge that a salesman for that company would have. Any objections, any rejections, how it would handle them, how it should direct them on the call, etc. Right? Salesman is just an example, but there can be anything like customer service, whatnot. Any knowledge we have we store that in a database, and then we give our AI access to this, right? And the personality is driven through basically our prompting. So with basically the prompting and the database of information, it can combine that. And imagine ChatGPT having a personality that you give it. It can basically, you can talk to it with text, right? On what you're kind of trying to do. So that we just add another big layer on that and add our voice capabilities on it. So right now, it can basically like clone your voice with, I don't know if you've seen those like Obama, Trump playing video games and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are hilarious.
Yeah. So it's like that. We use that to clone people's voices, and there's other more proprietary algorithms we use. Mm-hmm. But that is a big part of how we kind of give it a voice and a brain. So, and we just stream it over the phone.
Very cool. So it's streaming both directions. So basically it's understanding what you're saying, converting it to text, and then
Yeah.
back the other way into voice.
It's literally how a human brain works. So like you're hearing what I'm saying, you're processing it in your head, and you're saying something out. The exact same way. We're like listening with some transcribers, what someone's saying. We're processing it in our brain that we created, which is the AI. And then we're spitting it back, the response, through the text-to-speech algorithms.
Wow, that's really neat. So what do you collect to be able to accurately or appropriately give the AI the right personality and knowledge to successfully chat with people about whatever it might be?
Yeah. So that always depends on the user. Do you have any use case in mind? Maybe we can go through an example.
Yeah. So let's talk about the coolest thing. I mean, thing that really caught my attention that you put out recently was the politician thing where they were responding with people, it was responding to objections and et cetera. So how does that work, for instance?
Yeah. So the politician, the steps are pretty simple. Step one, you get a voice for someone. You could be you. You could use your voice sample, and you could feed it to, like, let's say something like 11 labs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you will have a voice, and you can use that voice to say whatever you want. Okay? And then comes the AI side. The AI side is where we want to garner and gather all the, like, we Google a lot about a politician, let's say, right? Google a lot what their policies are, what they would say, or we ask them, what do you want it to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get that. Let's say we have a big text file of that. Okay? So we put that whole text file into ChatGPT. And I'm being very basic and high level with it.
Sure. Yeah.
But we basically throw that in and then have it and give it another personality. Like, this is your objective is to convert them to vote for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we'll have some things to describe it. But from that, we can essentially make the calls in their voice. Yeah.
Okay. So are you using like a vector database or something like that to be able to grab the most relevant stuff? Is that okay?
That's actually, yeah. I don't know how technical you wanted to get, but yeah, vector database is how we get the semantic meanings.
Just because I know some people are going to be thinking like, okay, well, how I know my ChatGPT has a context. I can only put so much text in there before it gives me an error message, or even if it allows me to do it, stuff gets lost. But
yeah.
Okay, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, can you just talk us through what is a vector database? Like, how does that actually why is that useful in this case?
Okay, so what is a vector database, right? So the simplest way I can put vector databases is you're grouping things of similar likelihood together, right? So imagine there's like I don't know, let's say there's a white piece of paper. In that white piece of paper, you have to group similar words. So let's say ball, I don't know, bat, name some other words if you know any, right? Hair,
Apple.
Yeah, apple, yeah, stuff like that, right? So they're in like similar clustered regions. And what we do is, for a vector database, that's basically what it is, the whole white sheet of paper. And we can basically point at what group we think what we are looking for might be closely associated to, right? So let's say I'm looking for, I don't know, a ball. Then it will kind of know which region to go search in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll pull out information from there. Then that's how it kind of works.
Got it. Okay. And then do you have to somehow alter the data that you're feeding that database to make it more suitable to conversation, or do you typically just dump it all in there and the context is good enough to work with in the raw form?
Yeah, the magic, I think, is really in the prompting of the personality.
Mm.
There is a lot of massaging we have to do for the data, so it can actually speak properly and say what you want it to say. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, the hard part, and that's where I try to help, like, whoever my customers are.
Right.
Because I'm just building a SaaS from out of nowhere, right? This is something I've never done before. I'm just going 0 to 100, bootstrap this new SaaS business, and it's working out pretty well. But that's what I'm trying to help my customers do right now. Because if I just throw them into the wilderness, they're going to be lost. Yeah. So I'm trying to help the actual big and nice use cases to build out a nice portfolio And then
Mhm.
helping each vertical will be much easier.
Got it. So, I mean, that's another question too is, as a sort of as a software business, do you see, it sounds like they're stepping into a different sort of
Mhm.
perspective here. The idea with like, I know we implement tracking solutions for clients, on our agency side, and a lot of times they come to us after they've been using a tracking software that is supposed to be kind of plug and play. But the fact is that each business is so customized that inevitably there's some major issues with just applying it as is. As a software business, software provider, you see a lot of the value add that you provide being actually to, like you said, massage these prompts, massage the data so that the output is adequate.
So as a software business, it's actually weird. The way I see it is we are just solving an issue or we're helping someone achieve some goal, right?
Right.
As long as we're achieving it in the best way possible, software doesn't matter,
Mhm.
technically, right? It doesn't matter what's happening behind the scenes. There's not a lot of manual stuff we really have to do. It's more so the client communication and the back and forth that we try to help them to make sure that like the AI is talking to the client properly. Like I'll give you an example. This is just what happened with the client very recently, right? So they came in and then we were doing our setup phase. So in our setup phase, we try to ask them about their data. We try to understand their goals and what they're trying to achieve from this kind of tech, right? And we try to mock out actual calls that happen. So we work with them every day, and then we're like, okay, is this call good enough? And then we'll make him tweaks, or we'll teach them how to do it too, so they can like kind of take it and resell it or do whatever they want.
Mhm.
Right? If someone takes my tech, I'm not gonna charge them. They can resell it, and I don't mind.
Mhm.
So we're trying to actually train them, so they have the equipped knowledge to do this as well. Because it's not anything crazy. When you learn prompt engineering for a specific like aspect, once you know a couple different big things that the principles you need to know, you can just do it pretty easily.
Cool. So what are the biggest principles to prompt engineering, would you say?
So I can be general with like what everyone should know, and
Mhm.
there's always specifics for like which client needs what. But for general, there's this thing called shot prompting. I'll put it simply. Shot prompting is, there's this one thing called zero shot prompting, is when you're telling, let's say, an AI to do something and you don't give it examples, right? That's zero shot prompting, and you're like kind of like going for a shot in the dark. There is single shot prompting, which is one example, and then there's few shot prompting, which is you give it several examples of how you want the outputs to be like, and from that you can architect kind of how its personality should be in each scenario.
Mhm.
There's also this other thing. This is like I don't know if you know this guy called David Shapiro, but he's a big researcher.
Cognitive architecture guy.
Yeah. Like, he's so smart. He has this thing called SPR, and SPR is a way to like kind of condense those big prompts. And so if we use SPR with like these big prompts we're writing, we can condense it and then put it into ChatGPT, and that surprisingly works really, really well.
Can you walk us through SPR?
So SPR is basically, the simplest way to explain SPR is it's just a prompt, right? That you put, it's like you give the model, like any LLM or AI already knows a lot of information, right? They've been scraping Google, Reddit, everything forever.
Mhm.
So because they have all this information, you probably do not need to tell them exactly what to do. It already contains all that, right? It doesn't have to be explicitly said over and over. Okay, so what do? That means we can compress the prompt we give it, or all the information we give it, in like it's like how you zip a file, right? Zip a folder to make it compress it. We're doing the exact same thing. And all it is just a prompt. I think you can find it in his GitHub. It's just a prompt that you put, and then you can condense a lot of information into like a small blurb, and you can use that in smaller models, so it's a lot faster and it's a lot more accurate.
Nice. That's awesome. So a way of compressing prompts. Interesting. And then it brings up another question too. So do you see it, do you typically use other models than, let's say, GPT, OpenAI models?
So the thing with
Great points.
yeah, there's a lot of different models. Yes, you can use open source models, but
Mhm.
the thing we've seen is for our calling one specifically, we like to use OpenAI because one, okay, I'll give you this example. OpenAI has been out for GPT-4 since March, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Google just released Gemini Pro or Ultra, right? Ultra is not even released. And now they're claiming to just edge out GPT-4 a bit,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't know what OpenAI has cooking in the back that they're going to release soon, and then also leapfrog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this way, I think they're really, really good at this. And I also have friends there. So they're really good at how they're making their models. Also something like function calling, which where we can like call other code
Mm-hmm.
during the call. So it can like send you a payment link while the call is happening or something like that. Other models can't really do stuff like that, right? So that's why I think OpenAI is the best way to go about it. But you just need to know the little hacks.
Super interesting. Okay, so step back into the, I guess the benefits really. So one video you talked about doing some nurture. How would you describe what you're doing for this HVAC business, where you're increasing what you did and dramatically increased the lead volume? I remember.
Yeah. So that's basically. So what happened was we were looking for beta testers for our product, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we needed a way, and we didn't have a product yet, actually. At that point, I was just like thinking, I was like, hey, I want to do start a software company. These are some things I've already built. Maybe I can use this to help some people, right? Fortunately, there was some of these guys that are really interested in AI. And I love people that are interested in AI because if they're not in tech and then they're interested in AI, I'm normally pretty good at deciphering what they kind of need to do to kind of like supercharge their business. Like what they like the minimal people like like people like pitch you should use XYZ systems for your business. But the thing is, normally what happens is like people these business owners will be like administering a million systems, and a lot of processes will get lost. So you want to reduce it to as little processes, and like you want to have it like Wi-Fi, like it's in the background, it's working, you don't need to know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way, I try to help my clients. So the HVAC guys, what they did, we were just talking about it, we're brainstorming problems of how we can like kind of improve their business. And what does that mean? That means they just want more money, they want more time. That's basically what people want. That's why people start businesses. That's right. They want money, more time, freedom, something like that. Okay. What did they use their time? Where did they lose all their time, right? It's taking random customer calls. They're missing customer calls, that means they're missing leads. So because they're missing customer calls, they're missing leads, they're missing money and freedom. It's an easy thing to identify that, hey, maybe a solution like this, where something takes their calls and puts it directly into their CRM as orders, will hugely benefit them because they don't need like some employees anymore. So we started testing on weekends, right? Let's say your AC breaks on the weekend, and you call like the top Googled HVAC guys. You're not gonna find anything, or maybe you won't, and you call someone and they don't answer. They just lost out on your business, right? So this is what but although if someone's working, it doesn't matter. Like let's say someone's working, but they can't pick up the phone. So what do? If we have this system that like an AI, the one we put in their place, that'll take the call, put it into their CRM, which automatically texts the workers about the job. They basically go out, they can do the job and go home, done. Less human capital needed, more time saved, and money saved because you don't have to having to hire a call center or a person. So all three of those needs are met.
So basically, the solution you built for this business was essentially replacing like a call center.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's incredible. And so, did you see any difference in, let's say, conversion rate from let's say, how many people calling a human
Mhm.
versus people calling an AI, was there, based on the data that you saw, was there any measurable difference in the experience where people were like, oh, I know I'm talking to some AI voice here and this is weird, hanging?
Yeah. So, okay. Our old systems used to be like more robotic where you could like kind of tell it's an AI. Now it's kind of scary how good the tech is getting. Now it's like very hard to tell, right?
Mhm.
Although you can tell if there's like weird lag and stuff. The conversions are a little interesting because like we were playing like a game where no one was playing. So if you don't have an employee and we have an AI, guess who's winning? The employee, because there's no competition, right? But let's say you do have an employee. We've seen it doesn't matter as long as they can answer your questions. If the customer gets what they want quickly, they don't care, right? You just disclose that it's an AI, and then you're like, hey, what do you need to do? Okay, and then if you can relay and communicate your message effectively, which the AI can understand and do, then why else do you need a person? I don't like this is not your therapist, right? You're trying to get something done.
Interesting. And then, so, all right. So before we start recording here, you talked me through something you're working on right now. It's pretty incredible in terms of scale and also, impact for businesses. So you talk more about the real estate application that you're working on, or is that secret?
No, it's not secret. I mean, I like to be transparent with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm giving out a lot of the secrets, a lot of the code.
Yeah.
So the real estate ones is actually really big. I think that'll be very interesting. So what happens for that is, let's say there's real estate buyers that want to buy off-market properties. So if someone lists their house before that, there's some time that you can think, like a real estate agent will know that someone is planning on selling their house, right? So that's an off-market property. And normally you can get much better deals on those. So there's a lot of like people with a lot of capital. What they will do is they'll like invest in like call centers, text campaigns, whatever. So they can like call up these realtors and inquire about, hey, do you have an off-market property I can buy? I'll give you like all the cash. Like I'll give you $500K today if you sell me, I don't know, this house. And these are smaller properties. They're not like multi-million-dollar ones. But all what you need is volume and scale. So we've been building out a solution where, because they have these massive lists of contacts, so our client, I think, doing a lot, he's going to be doing like 500K calls a month, which is like 20K calls a day, something like that, right? Because it's between the hours of like 9 and 4 or 5, something like that. We built our system right now in a way so we can support rapid calling like that. Right, we need to do the call simultaneously. A lot will happen at the same time. And then while that's happening, we need to record the responses, parse the responses, like if they have gotten an address, like, or any metrics that they want to see, like getting an address, getting the conditions, those are success metrics. We record those too and put this all into their CRM.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So that's super interesting. So the GPT, let's say the application is talking to the CRM. It's like depositing those snippets of relevant information into the CRM so that there you got a deal.
Exactly. So that means I'll give you a flow. So the AI calls a number in the lead, which a human would have to do, right? They ask a couple of questions, and these are cold calling. So that means they might not answer. That means you might have to call them again. And we have that programmed in, right? They'll call them every other hour or whatever the customer wants. So let's say they do answer. They do have a property. They give the address on the phone. They give us some other qualifying questions that we predetermine. They ask those. They get the answers to that. We kind of take that transcript, right? We throw it back into another ChatGPT and then we try to parse out, hey, did we get the address? Success? Yes, that's a metric. And then we'll append it based on what the customer kind of wants. And then we'll do a lot of those. So you have exact metrics too.
That's super interesting. And then how big are your OpenAI bills every month for app like that?
So don't worry about this. No, I'm just kidding. We have some credits, so we got kind of lucky. with OpenAI. There's some places like people I know. So we got some credits off that to try. But the thing is, when you have an enterprise account, you can cook it into the bill of the customer. So we're billing our customers at like I think 20 cents or something. I forgot the exact, but around 20 cents a minute of talk time.
Got it.
And that's about it. And then everything should be covered: the text to speech, the telephony, the calling, etc. OpenAI.
That's great. So you're charging your margin on.
Yeah, we're just taking a little margin, but more so it's the fun of the tech.
Covering it. Awesome. Yeah, covering the cost. Yeah. Got it. So, so then what about? Okay, so you got your initial hypothesis of how this conversation should look, right? And you're tweaking it with some sort of sniff testing with the client, like, hey, does this sound good? Does this seem like a good conversation? You let it out in the wild, right? And you get all this data. How do you actually apply this actual conversation data to, how do you understand that and then use those insights to actually improve the flow? How does that all work?
The biggest, so the one word answer is basically testing, right? How we do it is on mass scale is on success and fails. So let's say we have 2 campaigns going with 2 different scripts, right? And for 2 different scripts, we have our success metrics defined. And for each success metrics, we can basically have an overarching view of, hey, has this script performed better? Has this script performed better? Whichever one doesn't, we just put that out, and then maybe we try another A/B test. So we're keeping on A/B testing over and over.
How do you come up with the hypotheses to test from the conversational results?
Mostly it's based on the customer. We like to work with the customers to know exactly what they want. We don't make it up, right? We're asking them questions so they can pull out, hey, this is important to me. It's important to me that they're going to address in these comments, right? Stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, customers. This is an Amazon thing, right? It's a customer obsession. This was one of our leadership principles.
Nice.
Got drilled down to me.
Nice. So what's next? What do you see as, what are you excited about, given the pace of all the AI developments that are happening pretty much like hourly? Well, what are you most excited about that you see in the pipeline for all these AI capabilities?
I think it's super exciting space we're in right now, because we're literally automating a lot of things we'd have to get like actual people to do. And that's what kind of excites me. Like, solving these business problems means there will be newer business problems. And that's a layer above. So there will always be like a business use case. And honestly, I'm like addicted to growing the business. So I used to code a lot, but now I've taken a little bit of a step back, and I built an amazing team that's doing a lot of that. And I actually met them through my, through posting on socials and etc. These guys are actually killers, and I'm loving working with them. So the ideas they have and the ideas from the customers we're just iterating constantly.
That's super cool. That's really interesting. So basically your team grew out of you making contact, just putting content out there, making contact, and just work collaborating on projects, and then team grows organically from that.
It's the new thing, right? The personal brand. I guess I'm trying to grow that out. I've never done any of that before. So
that's cool. That's really cool. So I'm really actually interested in the political application, right? Because it's a real kind of almost clickbaity type of, it's exciting. It's really exciting and kind of nefarious, you could say, in some ways. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, I get you. I know what you exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Super interesting. Yeah. So how did that opportunity come across your plate?
So you know how I'm posting my videos, right? So when I post my videos, a lot of people see them, and then I have my calendar link so they can literally come and talk to me. I love talking to people that watch my videos, and these come out like, hey, they got asked from a campaign to do something like this. And then they're like, hey, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, sure. That sounds fun. I love building things that seem fun and like these fun use cases. So it was just a little passion side project that I was making on the side, the political part. The business part was building it for the business use cases, but this is also kind of cool because we can actually like spread the message with the client's voice and be like, come on and vote. Who wouldn't want that?
Mhm. That's cool.
It's a little nefarious though.
No, I mean, if the end result is people vote for who they're going to vote for, then it's good to express your democratic initiative. But yeah, I imagine it's gonna be like in the arms race, right? Everyone's gonna have their AI elements out there calling people and so forth. Well, do you see any issues with data protection and things like can spam and robocaller regulations and all that?
Yeah, we try to like keep in regulation for whatever we can. Like whoever wants to do anything, we're not trying to help people if something's illegal. But if it's like a small test that they're doing just for fun, it's an experiment, then it should be fine because they're calling like 10 people from their campaign or something. Normally, yeah, we don't want to spam anyone. That's actually a big no-no. Spamming is not fun. So as long as it's all legal and it's nice, that's when we try to take someone on. Because if it's business to business calling, then it's not spam. It's normally, and that's what the customers have come to us for. So let's say someone has opted in, they've signed up in a form, and then let's say we're about to buy a product, like you're about to buy some shoes, and you leave the cart, and let's say before that you signed up in a form, so they're actually allowed to call you, right? Because it's in their terms of conditions or something. That's the only reason, only times when we kind of like will make it so that they'll call you and remind you of kind of the shoe, and then it's in your cart, and then give you a little discount so you are more incentivized to go and get it.
Got it. Very cool. Do you see this as something that you're worried about direct competition to what you're doing, or just curious how you think about competition, given that you seem like you're very public with, I know you shared some code bases that you made for the frameworks and so forth, and you're very adamant about open source and like leveraging open source first, which is really cool. I'm just curious how you think about competition in this space.
Competition is, so there's going to be competition no matter what you do, is how I think about it, right? As long as we're reaching kind of like a better future where like there's less menial tasks that people have to do, the better is how I'm seeing it. There'll always be ways to make money. Competition is just a means to like, keeping other people down. But I don't see that. I'm like, okay, we can all grow together, and the tech will grow together, and that's the best part about it.
What do you see in terms of you taking a big step out? You mentioned, automating menial tasks. What do you see as society-wise, I guess, potential 5-year? What does life look like in 5 years for the world? I'm just curious. You're deep in the AI. I know you've been thinking about some of that stuff.
So ideally, life is just a lot easier for people, right? For example, now let's say you call the DMV and you have to wait 4 hours. If there's something that kind of automates that, it doesn't matter. AI doesn't matter, but if there's something that helps you make that better, it's just a net positive overall. And like a compounding effect, and the sum of those net positives actually make like the world a lot better.
I mean, do you see? I don't want to get too sort of polarized. What could I say? I'm just curious, because you follow Dave Shapiro. He has very specific, clearly articulated worldview. I'm just curious, how if less people are working, then what happens?
So I think there will always be work, right? It's just what work will change.
Okay.
That's my ultimate perspective. So think about it this way. 20 years ago, I don't know, 100 years ago or something like that, there was like no cars. What would people do? They'd walk everywhere or bike everywhere, right? So there were cars. Does that mean the automotive or does that mean like the whole industry kind of collapsed? No. It just means now there's a whole new thing to be working on. So there's always going to be a new set of problems. Every new layer of advancements, there's always going to be something else people want. There's always more. So I don't think there's an end to AI like taking everyone's jobs or anything. I think it's just people that use AI will have an advantage, but that's about it.
Got it. And then I guess following from that, are you scared of artificial general intelligence?
Personally, no. I'm a big believer of, hey, let's go headstrong, let's go fast. I really like the Meta has this quote: "Move fast and break things."
Mm-hmm.
It is a little dangerous, but people are going to do it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we're seeing any like Ultron situations. So I'm pretty sure it's good to like go fast, and most companies kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
It is an arms race kind of.
Yeah. How do you stay on top of new developments in AI? Please.
So it's interesting. I mean, it's all over your socials, right? Twitter's probably the place you can get the most up to date information, and then there's Reddit. There's YouTube's a little slower because people have to make the videos, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I try to keep my pulse on the AI, like the creator economy, and just the whole space with the research and everything. So when you read your research papers, whatnot, you can kind of get a feeling and a pulse of what's about to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. And do you experience FOMO with all this stuff, the stream of, yeah.
Yeah, as a developer, shiny object syndrome is like the worst. There's like 5 things I want to build every day, but you have to be focused and have to build one. Like, build one, make that good, make that the best, and then move on to something maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, how do you prioritize, given, like you said, the shiny object? You see the potential of some new thing that just drops, and you go, "Oh, we could build that, or that, or that." How do you actually identify your number one priority? How do you evaluate it?
So that's the hardest part, right? It's I think I forgot. I think it's a Hormozy quote, but the hardest part about being an entrepreneur is the ability to say no, right? So and that's prioritization, saying no. You want to know what's kind of important to you, what you want your future to look like, and then if you think you're going to be derailed by something else and not the main goal, then you shouldn't do that. You should prioritize. You make a list of 20 things to do and just cross out those 20 things rather than finding new things, is my opinion. But you should always like be worldly and then know your news. Keep just know about what's the current events and what's going on.
So have there been any projects the last year that you've started to build and then you've seen some new update and gone, you know what, I'm scrapping that project, I'm going to do this other new thing?
Yeah. So I think the funny part is there is so many things, but the thing I'm working on right now, the AI answers phone caller, that was a sidetrack. So initially I was like, when I quit my job, I was like, okay, what do I do? Right. I wanted to start a software company and I had an idea, but it wasn't this idea. It was something else. So then the first thing I did was I started an agency, right? With that agency, I kind of like helped a lot of other agencies build internal tools. So everything is snappy and then they have AI and integrated, because at that point, it was like really, really new. So it was like magic to people. And then from that, I've done a couple of those, and I saw like recurring problems for some of these agencies, and everyone wanted something like, let's say everyone was doing like chatbots at one point. Like, I don't want to do a chatbot. I think that's the old name. Well, at that point when like everyone was doing it. Before that, it was cool, but so I was like, you know what would be cool if I could talk to my AI and then like tell it, like it's like Jarvis. So I started building something like that out. And when I built that out, I just put out a random video on the internet, and that got a lot of traction. So that was really cool. I thought that was like, it had good product market fit. A lot of people wanted it, so I knew there was a lot of demand. And that's why I kind of took that path, because I was familiar with the tech. I was very, very interested by it, and there was so much demand. So it was a perfect fit for there.
And correct me if I'm off, but that was quite recent, wasn't it?
It was around when was it? I don't know. Yeah, it was recent, but it was like March maybe.
Oh, okay. Because I saw, I think it was the earliest video I saw on this channel.
Yeah.
It had you walk through how to do that whole setup. It was like a couple months ago, I think. Or something like that.
Oh, the first video I launched was like, I don't know, I think 1 month ago. But the thing is, that's me having there was a lot more behind the scenes of me trying to like build up the courage to kind of like,
Got it.
you know, do YouTube, put myself out there,
Mm-hmm.
release content. Because before that, I had like no social media, pretty much. I didn't use any of it, and now I'm like kind of all in on the creator economy type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun. Yeah, it's a totally new adventure, and I'm having a lot of fun.
So, do you regret quitting Amazon?
Not at all. Oh yeah, honestly, one of the biggest reasons I left was I didn't want to go back in, and they were forcing people. I don't know if you know, after the layoffs, they were like forcing people back in to come back, work from the office, and I don't want to do that. Right now I'm like living in Long Island. I don't want to go like an hour commute back and forth every day. So, and also I was like, I've always never wanted to keep working at a 9 to 5. I've always wanted to do a business, and the thing is like I had my pulse on that market, and then I wanted to know like when is the right time. Blockchain, like like stuff like drop shipping, SMMA, those came and gone. I never went in because like I did not identify with that at all. Right, I knew that was not some place I could make an impact. AI came in. I'm like, wait, I know all about this. This is fantastic. So I put my chips in, and I'm going all in. And yeah, so it's nice right now.
That's fantastic. Well, where can people find out more about stuff you got going on and get in touch and chat with you?
So yeah, people can chat with me whenever they want. I put out my YouTube videos on my channel. I think my YouTube handle is Samin Yasar _ So I'm releasing most of the videos. I also have like a Twitter that I'm posting a lot on too. But YouTube is main number one thing I'm focused on. So if you go to YouTube, you can just talk to me directly from the links in my description. Yeah, sweet. And I'm just going to be putting out more free content. And if people want to get some help and sell the things I'm making, I'm glad to help them.
That's awesome. We'll put the links to all that in the notes here, and so people can get in touch with you. But Samin, thank you so much. It's been really cool to chat, and hopefully we can follow up in a few months and see what else you got cooking.
For sure, man. It was really good talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Likewise. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah.
See you.